One of the best ways to carry a multi-tool every day is with a holster. Now, my preference personally is a holster that allows you to carry not just the multi-tool itself, but a pen, potentially a screwdriver, and also a flashlight. And there are a lot of options online, and all of the ones that we're going to talk about today, they're going to be budget oriented under $50. Now, I've spent some time testing these, wearing them, seeing how comfortable they are against the skin, and I have some conclusions, some real big standouts, and some to avoid. So with that, let's get started. We need to start this out talking about why. Why are we even bothering with the inexpensive sheaths when something better actually exists? I've spent over $1,000 of my own personal money trying to find the best possible setup that I could, and I eventually landed on this exact combination from Tale of Knives with an XL size for the flashlight, a pass-through spot for a pen, or in this case a screwdriver, and an XL sized spot for a multi-tool with a flap and clips. It took a long time to get here, and this is an expensive custom sheath that takes over 7 weeks once you order it to get there. You're probably not going to be so sure about your choices, and you're probably not going to buy 3 of them to determine the exact combination either. So I want to help you find the most similar experience that you can have at different price points so you can determine if you're even going to carry it this way in the first place. That's the why. That's why we're actually looking at budget sheaths in the first place. Now, most multi-tools you buy will already come with a sheath. This actually isn't a bad sheath, and this is from the Viperade Surge clone. It has a little clip so you can take it on and off, but it kind of moves a lot and it sticks out further from the body. Something like these, like the one that I carry all the time, and this, they kind of hug your shape and they disappear. You feel like they basically you don't even notice them. And even when I'm wearing this against my skin, I found that it was very, very comfortable. All the edges were very soft. Everything kind of meshes nicely. And this one is a pretty surprising comparative comfort level to what I found with the Tale of Knives. Now, I don't think anything has been as comfortable as this, but this is pretty close. Where it falls down, obviously, is going to be in materials, durability, fit and finish, and just, yeah, you can tell there's a huge difference here between a handmade leather wallet, holster, I should say, and this. But this is actually surprisingly close approximation to how it will feel to have this. It's the only one, by the way, from Viperade that I recommend. They make 3 different variations. Do not get those other 2. They are not good. This one has a very important attachment for your belt that keeps this from bunching up, something that happens with inexpensive, cheap leather sheaths, but does not happen with this one, especially if you have it on the right side with your belt loop between these 2 things. So you kind of have to thread it in and out. This is not going to be as convenient as slipping it on and off like this will. But from a comfort perspective and from a versatility perspective, this is actually quite good. In fact, it has the biggest slot of any tool any holster we're going to talk about for your flashlight. So this will fit anything up to a large 21-700 flashlight, and it will also fit any large multi-tool, even up to something like the center drive. So it's a very good starting point, and it's a very versatile sheath that will give you an approximation on the same experience. You'll get a similar one. What you're not going to get is the longevity, the look. Well, there's a lot of things, but it's not a bad starting point, and it's definitely something to consider at the very bottom of this tier list. Now, for a sheath under 40 bucks, this is actually pretty impressive, I would say. So first of all, it is a slightly different design than what you will get with Tale of Knives, and in a good way. I actually kind of like what they have done here, in that they have angled the slots a little bit, which actually gives it a bit more comfort. This would probably be, as far as the leather, a true leather sheath is concerned, this is the most comfortable one. Okay, maybe there's one exception, but it's approximately the same comfort level as either this or even this. So it's not bad, but it has some other faults that you really want to be made aware of. On the positive side, it does have a really nice amount of leather here. for attaching with the loops, and actually the leather looks quite nice as well. I have loaded up a surge so it can use an XL sized multi-tool, but I did find that the stretch, it was stretching a lot. You're going to have to let it sit in there for it to loosen up. And the opening that allows you to push up the thing, you're gonna have to kind of get your finger all the way up in there because it's not quite far enough to get it out when it's really, really, really stiff. Just keep that in mind. The pen slot's great. Even though it's closed at the bottom, it actually fits some pretty large pens. I like that. But the really big drawback for me is actually the flashlight slot. Now, I tried a lot of different things in this spot, and I found that almost everything gets stuck, regardless of the size. Even my more compact flashlights like the Warrior Mini 3 has a bit of a problem in this, and this is a very, very compact 18650. This did work, but it was a lot tighter than I like, and even if I use the trick of putting, I actually am having trouble getting this out. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the flashlight slot. It needs to be bigger for sure, but it worked perfectly for this particular flashlight. This is the MT2A Pro, very bright. But yeah, this actually worked, and actually very few of the sheaths carry this flashlight nicely because of how long it is. So overall, I mean, it's not bad. The quality is good. The price is decent. The comfort is awesome, but it doesn't actually give the same positive experience as even the less expensive one, for the simple fact that you can't fit every flashlight you'd hope for, which you'll be able to do when you invest in a better quality sheath. So I don't think it's a good enough approximation, as nice as it looks, and it was very comfortable. I think this is one I would personally skip. That's just my thought. Let's talk about these two sheaths. Let's pull this away for just a second. There are two different designs. At first I wasn't sure about this, but there are actually two different designs for this sheath. Initially, there's nothing like this that I saw on the market, so it's a little bit different. Instead of having a pen slot here, they actually have a very large loop, and this is actually huge. It's actually able to accommodate a 21700 really easy. In fact, even easier than in this loop, which these actually are built very nicely with a lot of space capable of taking very large flashlights. So I really, really like that design, and it's my preference that they always be an XL size slot for both flashlight and multi-tool, because you can always fit smaller multi-tools in those slots. Almost always they come relatively flush, and then as they stretch out, right, they will accommodate whatever multi-tool they have. And even the small ones, they're not going to move at all, which is great because of leather, kind of gripping it. So great design on the holes, on the slots for this tool. There is no actual clip. There's just a little ring, which I think is kind of silly, kind of defeats the whole purpose. But yeah, the thing I have a problem with this sheath, and why I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, is this spot. I had a hard time finding items that I could use here where this was either not too big, like a whole bunch of pens, right? Or it was too small for a second flashlight, which would make sense anyway. The general gist is I couldn't find a good use for this spot. That's what it comes down to. I couldn't find a good use for it. And so I don't like this one as much, but you may like it better. Now, if we turn it over, you'll notice that I've taken off the attachment that goes with this sheath, the one that attaches it directly to your belt and holds it a little bit firmer. And that's because you definitely don't need it. The rigidity of this piece of leather is so extreme, it's not ever going to fold. So what happened with this is when wearing it, this little piece right at the bottom, it started digging into like my hip bone. It was not very comfortable. And so when I removed it, I didn't have that problem. So this is probably the least comfortable of all the sheaths, but it's also what appears to be probably the most durable of the sheaths. And as you can see, I've only worn this a little bit and it's already starting to get a little bit nicer and a little softer. So it'll take longer to break in, and it has the longevity part locked in as well with this particular sheath, but it's not going to be as comfortable right off the bat, especially here at the top where this does not fold over. Something that is Very important about the tail of knife sheath. This starts to become supple and sort of folds over your multi-tool so it protects your skin. That's not going to be the case here. It's going to be very rigid. So I did find it a little bit more rubbing than I would like because I was keeping it against my skin. But it should soften. It should soften. If you're only going to go up to a $50 sheath, this is probably not that bad. It also has a much bigger spot for the pen. In fact, I have this bolt action Sharpie to just illustrate that point. And it should take a whole bunch of other items that could fit in there, like certain screwdrivers as well. My Vero pry tool has absolutely no, I mean, there's like plenty of space. I actually need to use the clip. That's actually kind of nice. And that is not anything like the tail of knives is much, much smaller. This is actually stretched out from use. So it's able to accommodate this larger pen. But this one actually comes already quite large. So if you have a larger, thicker pen, or that's your preference, this might be a better option just because of that. 50 bucks, I actually think this one is actually pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. And a decent comparison. Just remember that the tail of knives is definitely going to be more comfortable. Okay, so the last one here. Obviously, we are dealing with a pretty much identical clone. There's a difference though. This is about $120, this one is about $50. This is made in the USA, as is this one. The bigger differences here are the general choices for materials, the hand stitching, which is far more expensive for obvious reasons, and the size of the pockets and the clips themselves. And unfortunately for tail of knives, in most aspects that matter here, this company has actually done it better. So this is made by Main Street Forge. Now, what they have done better here is a couple things. Number one, the sizing for the flashlight. This is a 21-700 sized flashlight. There is no way I'm fitting it in here. This is the larger of the two sizes. I can't even fit an 18-650, and this is one of the thinnest that are out there. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is also the same is true for the multi-tool. I can actually fit a surge in here. It's snug and it will stretch out, but I cannot do so in this sheath either. And it wasn't really designed for the large multi-tools, so I get that part. All of that can still be a wash, and you can still choose the tail knife sheath, but this is probably the biggest issue I had, and honestly, there's no way to change it unless Tail of Knives updates their clip. This clip, when you're trying to pull something out, it consistently pulls the entire sheath right off your belt. And it didn't matter whether I was pulling out a flashlight, a pen, or a multi-tool. And it didn't matter how worked in the holster was. It just didn't stay on. Meanwhile, with this sheath, the clip is significantly more secure. And I'm not sure exactly what they've done with this, but they should be using this clip. It's so much stronger. It's kind of amazing. And I like it. I like it a lot. It's very, very comfortable. In fact, I would argue it's the most comfortable sheath we have here, and it's probably the most versatile. One of the reasons you might pick this design over this one, even though they carry the same number of implements, is that this will then come off your hip and go directly into a backpack, sling bag, or otherwise, and become an organizer. This is also small enough to easily go completely in your back pocket. You don't actually need to clip this on your belt. You can put it in your front or back pocket. It doesn't matter. It's small enough to actually fit there. So it's essentially an organizer with a clip, okay? Whereas this is certainly more secure, and I prefer it for actual outdoor use. For everyday carry, this might actually be the best solution for a lot of people. And I would have said the Tail of Knives was the best solution, but the clip is just so miserably awful, I can never carry it. I'm so particular. I know, I'm so particular, and I know that might feel unfair to Tail of Knives, but this is an issue of functionality, and in the case of functionality, this $50 sheath trumps this $100 and something sheath. I'm sorry to say. And in this particular case, I would certainly pick this one over it. Okay, so let me conclude. If you're going to determine whether you want to sheath carry a multi-tool and a flashlight or whatever, this is probably the best place to start. At under $25, it's going to be a very good starting point, and will give you a good sense of comfort. And it's not like carrying one of these. It feels much more comfortable than that. So I definitely think it's worth a shot if you're even considering it. And if you're willing to go up to 50 though, I think this might be the most versatile one out there, because sometimes you don't want to have it like stuck to your belt. And you know, there's just times when you want to take it off, and it's not an easy process to do that with this, which is where I think this sheath really comes in. If you have a specific arrangement of tools in mind that might work with this setup, this might also be a good option, and the quality is there. It just takes some time to wear it in. And the same thing is actually true with this one. Neither one has a good push-up. None of them compare to the Tale of Knives. This is by far the best when it comes to actually manipulating and getting access to a multi-tool. But these are not bad to give you an idea of what it's like. It will be improved, however, if you go down this route. Now, I will leave a link to this exact sheath. It is the arrangement I believe to be the best you can find on Tale of Knives' website. Just my personal opinion. So in case there's any questions, I'll probably also write out exactly which of the stats or which of the important factors there are, because their naming conventions are a little confusing. But if you're looking for something under 50, any of these are going to be a good choice. As always, I want to thank you guys for stopping in with me, and we'll talk again soon.